What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster. And when it comes to the failures of Doctor Who, Russell T Davies and his sycophants are dedicated to living in denial and pretending that everything is okay. This is the intellectual equivalent of a toddler putting his fingers in his ears and trying to drown out words that he doesn't want to hear.
Double stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lord.
Yesterday, we discussed how the first episode of this new Doctor Who season had come out and landed with an absolute thud, getting only 2 million viewers on its overnight numbers, which is the lowest in the history of this 60-year show. And despite all of that clear evidence that they are hemorrhaging viewership, I still had dingleberries arguing with me in the comment section, trying to tell me that this was still a success, as they parroted this line from the mainstream media, where they're trying to spin the viewership into a positive by saying it was the 4th most watched show on TV in the UK that evening.
Congratulations, you're an idiot.
I mean, for Pete's sake, what sort of a moron do you have to be to think that the show's performance relative to other shows that aired that same evening says anything substantive about this individual show's performance? That is like saying Snow White was a success in theaters because it was #1 at the box office on its opening weekend. But the thing is, Snow White had no competition, and this Doctor Who show clearly ranked 4th because there wasn't anything else on that was any good that evening. But Russell T Davies and his corporate ass-kissing sycophants are coping hard, which is why Russell actually just came out and said that not only is there a Season 3 planned for this iteration of the Doctor, but there is a 4 and 5 as well. And this sounds desperate as hell.
I'm on my knees in a $900 suit.
It sounds to me like Russell is trying to backtrack on his interview the other day where he talked about the show going on hiatus. This reeks of the PR team coaching him on what to say. The BBC and Disney are likely blaming the shitty ratings for the show on Russell's words where he talked about a possible hiatus for Doctor Who, so now he is reduced to practically begging and pleading with fans to come back and watch the show. Clearly, Russell and these executives don't care for how Doctor Who is being received. The overnight numbers are abysmal, the Rotten Tomato score is dropping as predicted. On the outside, RTD and his ilk are projecting confidence, but inside, I imagine they're a little like this. Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. Audiobook of a dark fantasy novel I've written will be available for members first in the next couple weeks. The thing is, I realize it's important that we not just complain about what we don't like, alternatives must be provided. So, I humbly ask that you consider becoming a member of the channel and supporting this venture for the fraction of the cost of your daily cup of coffee. But in any case, let's take a look at what Russell T Davies is saying about Doctor Who and his plans for it. As I said before, I'm pretty sure this is Disney and the BBC pushing him into trying to drum up interest in the show. They are likely irritated that he would hang the show out to dry right before the second season started with his talk about Doctor Who going on a hiatus. With the way he refers to it in his interview, it was clear that a cancellation of the show was practically a foregone conclusion. And if people think that the show is going to get canceled, then what incentive do they have for getting invested in this current Doctor Who iteration? And now that the numbers are coming out for viewership on this first episode, I'm sure that the executives are fuming and blaming Russell for it. Naturally, they will do anything to avoid facing the uncomfortable truth that the show has changed. It has moved away from a moderate show with views about peace and stoicism in the face of danger, the sort of things that most people could rally around, and now it embraces fringe political shit-lib views that turn people away. Minority characters and gay characters didn't bother us in the past, but now they beat us over the head with the insufferable messaging that comes along with those characters, and they wonder why we don't like it. But in any case, let's look at what Davies is saying. This article is from the Radio Times. Fans may only have just seen the return of Doctor Who for its brand new 15th season, but thoughts are still very firmly on the show's future beyond that, given that no further runs have yet been confirmed. The show's future will in part depend on a decision from Disney Plus, as the BBC has a deal with the streamer to finance and produce the series. We have been told for some time now that no formal decision will be made until after Season 2 has finished airing. In other words, the viewership on the first season wasn't good at all, and the second season is the only thing that can save them from cancellation, and the initial numbers make it pretty obvious which direction this looks to be going. But reading on, the article says, however, showrunner Russell T Davies has just given fans some positive news, revealing how far ahead he is in planning should he and the team get the green light to produce future seasons. Davies told Parade, "We'll always look ahead to the future if we get the chance to keep running. I've got ideas. I think I'll do that near season 4 or 5, and that's always the way I've worked on things. So yes, I could promise you amazing stuff at the end of season 4. There are things we've already mentioned that are going to bear fruit a long time in the future, so that's just the fun of it. That's the fun of Doctor Who, but to say again, it's the pit stops along the way." Like I said, this sounds desperate as hell. It sounds like he's pleading, like he's jangling the car keys, trying to get us to chase after him. Please, please don't cancel me, bro. Well, you should have thought of that before you idiots alienated over half your audience. I mean, let's just speak plainly here. I know there are a bunch of people who hate watch my Doctor Who content whenever I make it, and I want to hear from you. What is your explanation for the downward trend on viewership? Jodie Whittaker started out with viewership pretty similar to Capaldi, who was a little worse than the likes of Tennant and Smith, but still, they were doing alright. But by the end of Whittaker's run, where the showrunners fully embraced woke garbage, virtue signaling at every stage, and taking a stance on modern political issues, by the end of that run, they had lost over half the usual audience. So far during Ncuti's tenure as the Doctor, they have lost another massive chunk. And why do you suppose that is? I'd like to hear from the people who defend this show no matter what. I'd like you to explain it to me. But everyone else can drop their thoughts into the comments as well. Why has Doctor Who fallen off so precipitously in the past few years? But I'm going to leave it there. Russell T Davies seems like he's backtracking pretty hard on his interview, as he and his sycophants live in denial. But drop your thoughts as to why the show has cratered into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.